welcome to a new episode of the Bubbles and Berries podcast. If you are new here, my name is Ode and I am coming to you from Edinburgh in Scotland. And I am coming today with a new podcast episode with lots of things to share with you. And let's just get right into it. I'm gonna start with what I am wearing, and that is, if I can stand up a little bit, that is my Stripe Hype sweater by Veronica Lindberg or Ktova Kika on Instagram and I guess all her social media. This is what it looks like. I finished it last year, I think, and I've talked about it at length, so you can look back to older episodes of the podcast if you are interested in it. I think the thumbnail photo of the episode in question is that sweater, so it should be easy to find. And also I have all my Ravelry project pages and all of that linked down below if you are interested. Speaking of links and things that you can find down below, you can also find links to my Instagram, you can find links to my shop, you can find links to subscribe to my newsletter, all of this if you are interested. Of course, no pressure, obviously. This is what I'm wearing today. I know it's the end of July and I'm wearing a sweater, but summer is still not here in Scotland. It was in here the last time I recorded and it's still not here today. So we're just going with it. And I like this one because it is a sweater, but it's not it's not super thick, so it's warm, but it's not like super warm, so I can wear it in summer. And I usually wear it at home, like a nice, comfy, cozy sweater that I wear around the house mostly. Not that I have a problem wearing it outside, I just wear it around, like it just so happened that I wear it around the house mostly, also because I spend most of my time at home because I work from home, so anyway, so let's move on to the finished objects. So I have one finished object, and if you have watched my previous episode, it is not the finished object that you would expect. I was working in my last episode on the Bookclub Cardigan by Sari Nordlund, and I believe I said this is all I'm working on right now. I am not casting on anything else because I want to finish that. Well, I cast on something else and I have not finished my book club, although I'm close and I will show you later. But let's talk about the finished object, which is this lovely scarf. I'm going to show it to you. And so this is the Poet Scarf by Sari Nordlund. And it is part of this summer's, I think she calls it her summer shawl cal or summer scarf cal. I think it's summer shawl cal. And the idea is that once a month, so June, July, and August, she releases a small scarf pattern, and then you can knit it, and then I think you can enter for prices or something. I don't know. I don't really care about the prices. I just think the prices. I just think it's a fun thing to do. And so I knit my first one. This is the one from June. The pattern for July has been released. I haven't cast it on yet, but I intend to do that soon. And I will show you the yarn that I intend to use in the acquisition section. But let's go back to the one that is actually finished. It's very, very beautiful. I really love it. It was really, really nice to knit. It's all charted. It's not difficult. It wasn't the kind of chart that I found memorizable, but also like I wasn't really looking too much because all of the projects that I'm working on right now are charted, and so I'm just used at this point to have the chart next to me. I use the app Knit Companion on my iPad for knitting, and so I just have all my charts on that, and there's like a nice highlighter feature, so that tells me like which row I'm on, which stitches I'm on, and so I guess if you tried you could probably memorize it, but I didn't even try, so yeah. The yarn that I used is Along Avec Anna. It is yarn that I got last year in my advent calendar. So I'd ordered the Along Avec Anna advent calendar, and it was like it was a pouch a week kind of thing. It was in where you opened a skein, a mini skein every day, and so every week in the pouch usually had 2 to 3 balls of their yarn and then a pattern. And on one of the weeks was 2 balls of yarn. So that is the colorway Jade. Let me see if I can show you closer. Yeah, it is this lovely jade color, really, like light blue, light gray kind of color. And so I don't have much left, 1 ball of the merino, so the fingering weight merino, not the, I think she calls it heavy merino, the sort of DK weight, and then 1 ball of the silk mohair. I used more of the merino, I think, than I did of the mohair, but I don't know. That's what the pattern called for anyway. It was a, I don't remember what Sari used, but it's basically that. It's basically like a 50-gram ball of merino and a 25-gram ball of mohair. Like you could do it with Knitting for Olive, you can do it with Orgavicana, you can do it with a lot of brands have yarn that sort of fit the bill. I think some people also knit it with 100 grams of fingering weight held double, which I think worked for the most part, but the pattern does call for, I think, 225 meters of each yarn. And obviously pattern designers always add a bit of a buffer to the yarn quantities that is required, just to accommodate for different knitting styles and all of that. But if you use a fingering weight held double, then you only have really 200 grams of DK, 200 meters of DK. And I think for the Poet Scarf, that was fine because it was like mostly lace, and like some very flat knitting. But if it were a pattern that had cables, for example, I don't know that I would risk it. I think I would be worried that the 200 meters of a fingering weight held double would not be enough. So just something to keep in mind. But thankfully, because I'm joining everything quite late, a lot of people have already knit theirs, and I can look at their project pages for inspiration and to see how much yarn they used. So yes, I recommend you do the same if you aren't very sure. So those are the labels of the yarn. I really like her logo. I think it's very pretty. And so yeah, like I said, the merino is 100% superwash merino. 200 meters per 50 grams, which is what I'm saying is that I had 200 meters and I only had this teeny tiny bit left. And if that had been a scarf with cables, that would not have been enough. Or like a pattern like, sorry, or a pattern that, a stitch patterns that is a bit more, that requires more yarn, I don't think it would have been enough. And then the mohair is 72% mohair, 28% mulberry silk, and you've got 210 meters in that. So yeah, it is very lovely yarn. I have used along avec Anna yarn before. I used to be quite sensitive to mohair. I don't think I am as sensitive to it anymore, but even when I used to be quite sensitive to mohair, I found the Along avec Anna one like perfectly fine. Really, really no itching, nothing at all. So to me, it is one of the softest ones out there. And while she is a newish yarn brand, she is developing more and more colors and adding colors regularly. So I think now she has like a really nice selection of colors, and I'm sure it's gonna continue to grow. So definitely a brand to check out if it's accessible to you. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about it. It's just one size, so no worries about that. The gauge, I guess you can swatch, but if you have a sense of, or if you've knitted similar stuff before, I guess you can get kind of a sense. I used 3.5 millimeter. I have my laptop here with my notes, which is why I'm looking that way. I used 3.5 millimeter needles, which is what Sari Nordlund recommends. I didn't swatch. And yeah, Yes, I was reading my note, but that's stuff that I've told you already. So I'm very pleased with it. I haven't worn it yet because I don't know. It's not something that I would wear around the house. I see myself wearing that with like, and maybe an oversized white shirt, like cotton shirt or linen shirt, and then maybe jeans or something like that, and then just put it around like so, with maybe the collar of the shirt coming over, do a little knot like this. I think it could look very, very cute. Most likely in the spring or summer, in the warmer month here, just to have a bit of warmth around the neck, but not, be wearing a full-on mohair garment in July. So yeah, and I'm really looking forward to casting on the second scarf, which I think is called the Couture scarf, and it is a lace pattern again that I believe Sari Nordlund designed a tee, a sweater maybe, a beret, and maybe more stuff. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing that, but this time, for real, I need to finish my book club cardigan before I cast this on. I do have the yarn though. It's a lovely pink yarn, which I'll show you in a minute, and I'm looking forward to using it, but we need to finish the cardigan. All right. Having a sip of tea, and then moving on to the next project, which is we're going to be moving on into whips because that is my only finished object. I have been knitting. I don't have a low knitting mojo or anything right now. I just am very busy with work is very busy. So I'm not as productive. Not productive. I'm just not knitting as much as maybe I would at some other times. And I don't have a problem with that. I'm happy with the amount of knitting that I'm doing right now. I'm happy with the balance that I have between like my work and my knitting and other things that I do in my life at the moment. So yeah. Anyway, all that ramble for nothing really. Let's just move on to, I have 2 whips, and to the first one, which is the book club cardigan. So I have made a lot of progress since last time, I will say that, and I have a lot of things to tell you about. So I'm gonna show it to you. It's kind of a strange setup because I have it in a bag like this, but I also have another bag here with the yarn coming out. Basically, the yarn I'm using is Jameson and Smith Shetland Heritage in the colorway Fawn, and it comes in 500-gram cones. Let me see if I can, yeah, that's more like the color, a bit cooler tone, but yeah. The colorway is called Fawn, and it comes in 500-gram cones, and I wasn't sure because it's a all over cabled cardigan, I wasn't sure that 1 cone would be enough, so I bought 2. And also because the pattern calls for DK weight yarn, and this is fingering, I'm holding it double, but what I'm doing is I'm holding like 1 strand from each cone. So I have the 2 cones of yarn in 1 bag. And then, while my bag is quite large and would fit the cardigan just fine, I am currently working on a sleeve. And what I like to do when I work on sleeve is stuff the rest of the project into another project bag that I like really squeeze like this. And that means that when I'm, sorry for the noise of like stitch markers and needles, it means that when I'm working on the sleeves and it's twisting like this all the time, then I just have this bundle to twist and not a whole floppy sweater with sleeves everywhere and all of this. So I don't know, I'm not inventing anything, but it makes it easy for me, and I guess that's just a tip if you're interested. Just stuff everything but the sleeve in a project bag, and then you just have this squishy thing and not a floppy sweater with sleeves and the other sleeve and buttons and whatever. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna take it out of here to show you, obviously. It means that it's a bit creased, obviously, because it's been stuffed in this bag, but that's okay. It will be blocked at the end. I think last time I was somewhere down the body, I think. And so I have finished the body. I'm just going to show you and then I'll talk. So this is what it looks like. Let me see how I can show that. So that's body, sleeve number 1, body on the other side, and sleeve number 2 that is attached to the yarn. And then the back panel. It is so beautiful. I've been working on this for so long, for much longer than is realistic. I will say that. It's not like, I think I cast it on in mid-April, which is when the test call originally came out. I was originally a tester and then had to drop out. And now we're like mid-end July. It normally wouldn't take me that long to complete a project like this. It's just, I had to do other projects in between and a lot of stuff happened. So yeah, don't fear. It's not a project that takes months and months and months to do. Or it doesn't have to. Obviously you knit however you want to knit, but it doesn't have to. Yeah. And yeah, what was I going to say? Right, so I finished the body since the last time. I tried to end at the point of a diamond because I think it's nicer. My idea was that I wasn't really sure how much length I needed or how much more I needed to knit in order to get the length that I wanted. But I wanted to either end in the middle of a diamond or at the tip of a diamond. I didn't want to end somewhere in between. That just wasn't going to look good. And then the pattern called for so much ribbing. And this is the first modification that I made. I made a bunch of modifications and I'm going to talk you through them. But the first modification that I made is that I made the ribbing a little bit longer. I would say maybe 1 centimeter or 2 to achieve the length that I wanted without having to start another diamond and just end in a weird place in the diamond. So this is what I decided to do. Yeah, basically to get the length that I wanted, I needed to knit less than half a diamond and I didn't want to do that. So I just did it into the ribbing, which I like because I also found that the recommended length for the ribbing was a bit short, in my opinion. It would have been a bit too thin for my personal preference. So I think it required 3.5 centimeters. I like my ribbing to be minimum 4, more around 5. Or longer if that's what the pattern calls for, but at least 4 or 5. And so I did 5, I believe. So yeah, that was nice. So the body has been blocked mostly. The bottom hasn't been blocked, I don't think, but I had steam, not wet blocked it. I just ran the steamer over it until at least the top of the last diamond or the middle, maybe, just to get a sense of how it relaxed and to know the right length that I needed it to knit it. All right, what else did I do as modification? Oh, a very obvious modification. The pattern comes with pocket, which I believe are optional, but I didn't do the pockets. I honestly, 1, couldn't be bothered, and 2, I wasn't really, well, I liked the look visually, when you look at it from the front, I guess. I was very concerned that the pocket would be too bulky because the pockets, the way they are designed, it's not where you knit a square and then you sew it on to the cardigan and then you have 2 layers, right? You have your cardigan and then you have the pocket. It is like you pick up stitches and do all sorts of things, but it means that at the end you have 3 layers because you have the cardigan and then you have this pocket like this and then the cardigan here, and the cardigan and one bit of the pocket is cabled and then the other bit is stockinette. But to me that was just like too much bulk. I was worried it was going to bunch weirdly, so I didn't want to do, also I wouldn't really put anything in it, so I didn't want that basically, so I didn't do it. So I didn't do any pockets. What other modification did I make? Let's see. Oh yeah, the directions of the cables. So in the pattern, all the cables cross the same way at the tip of the diamond. They all go in the same direction. So they're supposed to go in the same direction here and then at the front as well. And then the 2 backs are also going the same direction. when I first started knitting, when I was still doing the test knit, there was a bit of a mistake at some point, which has been resolved since, which meant that the cables were mirrored. The diamond crossings were mirrored. And I didn't want to rip back, so I decided to continue to do it that way. And I like it a lot more. I can show you on the back. I think you can see how the diamonds cross outwards towards the sleeves and the shoulders. And I think that looks a lot better. It makes a lot more sense in my brain that the diamonds would cross, would be mirrored. So I continued to do it that. I did it as well for, it's kind of hard to show a cardigan, for the front. So it's going this way here, and it's going the other way here, always towards the sleeves. And I have also done it on the sleeves. So let me see if I can show you. So here it is crossing, basically on the sleeves it's crossing towards the back. So on that sleeve, and then on the other sleeve here, it's mirrored, it's crossing towards the back. So this was my choice. You do whatever you want, obviously, and I know some of the people have done the same. I guess the reason why I think, it might make sense to mirror the cables that way. I think the reason why Sari may not have done that is because if you do that, then you are kind of required to have another chart and to knit across, to reference 2 charts for each row. And if you don't do that, you only have 1 chart. And I understand that she might want to choose to make it more accessible by only having to follow 1 chart, if that means that your diamonds cross all in the same direction. I can understand that, absolutely. What else did I do? The size of the sleeves is another, it's the last modification that I've made so far, but I will make another one again afterwards. The size of the sleeves is, when you pick up stitches, so it's a drop shoulder, so you do the back, you do the front, and then you join under the arm, continue, and so then you have to pick up stitches. You have raw edges here, and you have to pick up stitches for your sleeves. And for my size, which is size 3, the amount of stitches that I had to pick up was so small. And then I heard from other people, because there's a knit along going on right now about knitting the Bookclub Cardigan. I'm not taking part, but a bunch of podcasters that I follow are taking part, and so they've been sharing tidbits of conversations that have been happening in the knit along chat group, I guess. And a lot of people do say the sleeve just come out really, really tight or really narrow, which I didn't want, because that is a bit of a comfy, oversized cardigan, and so I don't want to have oversized at the body and then sleeves that are basically like this. I don't think it looks good. And also, because I had to pick up so few stitches compared to the space of the armhole that I had, it was bunching up so much to the point that I don't even think it would have blocked out. It is bunching up a bit, obviously, because it's cable and because the body had been blocked and the sleeve hadn't been blocked and all of this, but I didn't think it would block out. It was just too small. And so I think I'd done 1 diamond on the sleeve, and I was like, this is just not working. It's not going to look good. It's going to be too tight around my arm. It's just not, no. So I ripped back the sleeve, and I decided to go a few sizes up for the sleeve. And I think I ended up I'm doing a size 3, and I think I ended up picking up stitches for the sleeves for the size 6 or something like that. A lot more stitches. And it turned out really good. And what's more is that, if you do a size up or several sizes up on your sleeve, then you run the risk that the armhole, the cuff, is going to be really big, and just because it's not your size, it's made for a bigger size, right? But it doesn't in this case. I think in this case, if I'd stuck with my size 3 and I'd done those sleeves, at the end I would have ended up with, I think, 56 stitches at my cuff, and now with the size 6 I'm ending up with 58 stitches, which it's basically no difference, only because the size 6, while you pick up a lot more stitches at the bicep at the top, you do a lot more decreases. And so that worked out great for me. So this is what I did. And I think it's what a lot of people are doing, people who are knitting the Bookclub cardigan. So yeah, that's another modification that I made. And I'm so happy with it. It looks so much better. I can show you. So for example, on this side, sorry, it's a bit creased, but on this side, I have steam blocked all the way up to the 5th diamond. And this is what it looks like. It's pretty flat, like no bunching, nothing. And on this side, I haven't blocked it yet because I'm still finishing it. And it's like, you can see the cables need to relax, but there's not really any bunching around the armhole either. It was like that. Like it made like gathers almost. It wasn't good. So yeah, that's also a tip. I feel like I've gone on forever, but really like the sleeves were a bit of an issue for me. So yes, that's another modification that I made, and I'm glad I'm not the only one who finds that and decides to, make a modification. Where I'm at right now is I'm on the 2nd sleeve. I need to do 5 diamonds on the sleeve. I'm at 4.5, so I'm gonna do the last half diamond and then the cuff, which shouldn't take too long. And then we are onto the button band. It is a double knitted button band that you just pick up on one side and then you do it all the way around. I know a lot of people say, oh my God, that takes forever, blah, blah, blah. It does take forever, but I don't mind. I really enjoy doing double knitted button band. I enjoy the process and I think it looks really, really good. And yeah, I think Sari provides some instructions on how to do that, but I think I'm going to follow the instructions of Florence Miller of Handmade by Florence that I used when I was knitting her fennel seed cardigan, because I thought those instructions were really, really clear, and I've done it before, so they will be familiar. And also because I think in the pattern of the Bookclub cardigan, Sari tells you to just like cast on so many stitches and then bind off purlwise. And I don't know that I would like the finishing of that, like the edge. It seems a little bit, I'm afraid that it will look a bit unfinished or sloppy, whereas in the fennel seed cardigan is you do like an Italian cast on and then an Italian bind off, and it looks very smooth and it looks very beautiful. So I intend to do that, but honestly it's not really a big deal. So yeah, my only thing is that in the Bookclub cardigan so I knit this on 4mm needles and then the cuffs on 3, or like the ribbing on 3, and then it tells you to do the double knitted button band on your large needle, so on your body needle, so 4mm for me. But when I did the fennel seed cardigan, it told you to go down in needle sizes. And because the fennel seed is the only previous experience I've had, I don't know, I'm worried that using 4mm needles is gonna be too loose for this cardigan. But at the same time, I kind of want to trust the pattern, and I haven't heard anyone, I know other people who've knit it and they haven't said, oh, I've changed needle sizes or my button band is wrong or anything like that. So I think I'm going to go with it. I wonder if for the fennel seed, we had to go down a needle size because the stitch of the jacket is broken rib and tend to stretch a lot more than this would. And so that was a way of sort of keeping it under control. But yeah, I would love your opinion, either if you've done that or if you've made the Bookclub cardigan, or if you have more experience with double knitted button band. Do you think I should go down in needle sizes, or do you think I should just stick with the same size as I used for the body and just trust the pattern? I would love to hear. Please let me know. So yeah, next time this will be finished. I promise it. Yeah, I promise it. Next time this will be finished. And I'm really excited to wear it. I've worn it a bit to just to try it out, to see full length and stuff, but it looks so nice. The fit is so good. I have steamed blocked most of it, not the second sleeve, and just not the end of the first sleeve. And the yarn has bloomed nicely, but I think it will be even better with a proper wet block. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm also gonna, my plan is to get like a towel, a bath towel, and roll it so that it's a bit bigger than my arm, and then slide it into one sleeve across the back and into the other sleeve like this to really stretch out the cable on top of the arm and block the sleeves like really nice and round, because obviously if you block it flat, the fold of the sleeve is right in the middle of the diamond, so it's going to make it really hard to really open up those cables, and then you're going to have this big crease in the middle. So I think I'm going to do that with a towel sausage thing through the arms, so that the sleeves and also the shoulders, I guess, are like nice and smooth and round and don't have a crease. So yeah, that's the plan. And I think that's all I have to say about this cardigan, and maybe you're tired of hearing me talk about it now, but yeah, that's all I have to say. Next time I will be wearing it. This is my ambition. That was a lot to say. I really love this project though. I know I've said that I've made a lot of modification and things like that, but I love it so much. It's so beautiful. It is so nice to knit. I was really worried. I had to put it down for a while in June. And I was really worried because I started it in April and it was going to be June, and I probably wasn't going to be able to pick it up again until late June, early July. I was really worried that I was not going to pick it up and I was just going to be bored and would have moved on. And I've been knitting on this for 3 months now, which is very unusual for me to knit that long on a project, and I'm still loving it. So, you know, that's a good sign. It's a very nice pattern. It's a very, very nice pattern. All right, enough of the book club cardigan. My second and last work in progress is a scarf or a shawl, which I think I've mentioned before when I got the yarn. And it is the Bakker scarf by Fibertales. As always, I'll put pictures somewhere on the screen. And it is this lovely long scarf, and it has her sort of, I don't know if it's her signature stitch, but something that is typical of hers to do, where you knit a band and then you like unravel it and you re-braid it with a crochet hook. So it has that, which I really love. And this is where I am. I haven't done much, honestly, because I thought it would be a nice mindless project, but actually it's not really, because you have markers and you need to do, you need to like count and do increases and stuff, so it's not that mindless, but this is what it looks like, and I think it's I like it. And I'm looking forward to spending more time on that, but it is not the priority right now. The yarn that I am using, I've really only done a tiny bit, and sorry, I'm all over the place. I will talk about the yarn in a minute. But as you can see, you basically knit in garter, but then you have those columns of knit stitch, although she says you can also do it in garter and just place marker, but I do it in knit, just like stockinette, just so I can see, like, so it looks nice and I know sort of where my lines are. And it is very nice. And for probably the first time in my life, I am using not only the yarn recommended in the pattern, but I'm using the same colors as the designer used, because I think it is beautiful. And that yarn is Plotulopi, which I've never used before, but I like it a lot. This is what it looks like. It is a nice, very cool green with bits of orange and gray. It is called Frost Grass. Is it called Frost Grass? Where is the name of the thing? I believe it is called Frost. I don't know. I think it's called Frost Grass, and that's what it is. It's like frosted grass. So I have 2 plates of that, which is what is recommended in the pattern. And then, so you hold that, just one strand of that, and then you also hold it together with a strand of Isair silk mohair. This is Just FYI, I think the images on my screen make the colors look a bit warmer than they normally are, but it's a nice green. 75% mohair, 25% silk in the color 68. And then it makes this lovely fabric. So basically this, oh, I think that's actually the right color if I hold it close to my face. It's more like a warm olive green, and that is like a cool dark pine green or something. And so you have all the color depth and variation of the Plötulopi, and then the mohair gives it softness and a halo and warms it up a bit, which I really like. So yeah, and I think it's the first time that I've used the Isair mohair, but I find it quite soft. Again, I think I'm no longer that sensitive to mohair, so yeah, but it's soft, so I like it. I know Plötulopi is supposed to be quite scratchy. I can definitely see that. I'll need to see when it's longer how it feels like. If I put it like really close to my neck, it's not scratchy to me, but it prickles. Not in a way that I want to, like really scratch my neck, but just it prickles. But also it's this really big scarf. I don't expect to wear it, like, strangle myself with it. I expect to wear it kind of like flowy around me, and it will keep me very warm, and it will be very beautiful. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to showing you more progress on that. I'm not going to say it's going to be finished by the next episode. I don't know if it will be, but maybe it will be. If that's the case, I'll show you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to working on that after I have I've finished my Bookclub Cardigan. I think that's what's going to be happening next, is that step 1, finish the Bookclub Cardigan. And then I would like to cast on the next Sari Nordlund Summer Shawl Cowl mini scarf and work on the Bakker scarf. And then after that, I would like to get a little break from the garment. And then after that, I would really like to make myself a Miles shirt jacket for the autumn. And I have the wool already. It smells really strongly of sheep and spinning oil, so I need to give it a good soak with like clear washing up liquid, like dishwashing liquid, to get the grease off, and then I can start looking into that. But I will talk to you about that when the time comes. All right. Moving on. So these were all my whips and my finished object, and yeah, that's all the actual knitting projects that I'm working on right now. So I'm going to move on to the next section, which is acquisition. I have a few acquisitions to show you, not a ton, but yeah, I like it. It's exciting, so I'm going to show you. If you're not interested, that's completely fine. You can skip ahead or, leave now and whatever. You do you. All right, so since the last time that I podcasted, I got some yarn, and I'm going to show, I got 6 skeins of yarn. 4 of them were gifted to me. So the first one that was gifted to me is this beautiful skein of 50 grams of hand-dyed fingering weight yarn that was dyed by my lovely friend Lauren of Work Knits. This is her logo. She just started, I think maybe a month and a half ago, her own hand-dyed yarn company with a focus on affordability. And so she sells her yarn in 50 gram skeins rather than 100 gram, which I think is really nice, because you don't, especially if you buy a sweater quantity, sometimes you need like 350 grams or 310 grams, and then you end up having 90 grams left over. So I think it's really smart to sell this in 50 gram skeins. And then she very kindly offered to send me one. So I said yes, obviously, because beautiful yarn. And I'm really excited to knit something with it. So it is fingering weight. It is 100% Highland wool, 50 grams, 4-ply. I think it's about 200 or 220 meters or something like that. It's very plump, so I think it would look really nice for texture. And I got it in the colorway James, which is named after her husband. She's got a bunch of different colorways. She also has other bases and other yarn weights. Like she also has DK and things like that. So yeah, feel free to check her out if you'd like. Check her shop out. I'm gonna leave the link below, and her podcast as well. She has a podcast she posts every week, and her Instagram and all of that. So yeah, I don't know yet what I'm gonna do with it, but I like it. I'm thinking maybe mittens or penny gloves. I could do penny glove. That's good for 50 grams. Yeah, so that's acquisition number 1. I'm very grateful that she sent it to me. Acquisition number 2 is this beautiful yarn. It's a skein of 100% Corriedale sock yarn from Thread and Yarn in the colorway Walnut. So Thread and Yarn is a lovely woman called Lorna, who also has a podcast, who does a lot of sewing as well as knitting, and she does naturally dyed yarn. So this is called Walnut, and I think it's probably dyed with walnut, I would say. And yeah, I discovered her podcast recently, really enjoyed it, and wanted to try out her yarn, and there was only one of that walnut left, but so I had to get it because I really love the color. It's a nice tan color, if you will. So yeah, I'm planning to probably make socks with it. And I know some people have told me that Corriedale, like I've heard mixed opinions on Corriedale for socks. Some people say, oh yeah, it's really sturdy and it's really nice because it doesn't have nylon or anything, and other people say it doesn't wear that well. So I'm excited to try. I'm also not very hard wearing on my socks, so I'm not concerned really that it's gonna have holes and everything, but you know, it'll be interesting to see how it wears and how it compares to other natural sock yarn of other kinds of fiber. So yeah. Another thing, so this one I bought. The second one that I bought is this lovely yarn by Annabelle Williams. I think it's called Annabelle Fibers or Annabelle Textile maybe. Which is also naturally dyed wool. And this one is 100% blue face Leicester, fingering weight. And it is this lovely pink. So 100 gram, 400 meters, BFL from Devon in the UK. This is the colorway Thrift, and the natural dye used is madder. I kind of like that she writes that, like what plant or thing was used to dye it. It's very beautiful. It's very even, and I bought that because I've been wanting to try her yarn for a while. I follow her on Instagram. I've been wanting to try her yarn for a while and just never really got around to it. And then I saw a post and it reminded me. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a look and I'm gonna buy it. So I bought that to make the Qatar shawl, so the second scarf of the Sari Nordlund summer shawl cowl, and I'm gonna hold it not double with itself, but I'm gonna hold it double with this mohair. So this mohair, a few months ago, a very lovely viewer of my YouTube channel offered to send me yarn. They were not knitting anymore really and didn't want yarn just to gather dust on their shelves, and so she wanted to pass it on, and I said yes, and I received a huge box of the most beautiful yarn. I haven't shown it on the podcast because we could do a whole podcast episode just going through the box, so I thought I would show you as I use that yarn. And one of the yarn that she sent is this 25 gram skein of Mominoki yarn. It's 75-25 mohair silk. Oh, maybe here you can see better. In the shade Chai. And it just happens to be the perfect match for this BFL. So I'm gonna hold these two together. So I'm gonna use most likely like most of that or all of that, and then half of that for the Qatar shawl, and then I will have 50 grams of that BFL left to do something else with. So yeah, that is the second to last acquisition. It's stuff that I bought myself. And then the last acquisition So Kyle, my husband, went to Amsterdam last week for work, and so obviously had to get me some yarn. I hinted. Actually, I didn't even hint. I demanded that he get me some yarn. I sent him I wrote a note, like a shared note on our phone that I called Buying Yarn for Ode, a comprehensive guide. And I wrote in a lot of detail my yarn preferences. So the colors that I like, the kind of fiber that I like, the quantities, sort of, 100 grams, you can do that, 200 grams, you can do that, so that it would kind of know. And also, that's just for like general reference, if he feels the urge to buy me yarn, which I hope he does sometimes. And then specifically for the Amsterdam trip, I wrote that there's this store called Stephen and Penelope. I gave him the address and I said, you have to go here, and this is the yarn that I want, and this is the colors that you may choose from. So I'd given him 3 colors, and so the yarn that I wanted is at Stephen and Penelope, and it's Olivia and Oliver fiber. So they're like a Dutch dyer, so I wanted something Dutch, and it's on their BFL base because they dye on a BFL base exclusively for Stephen and Penelope. So I was really excited about that, and so I said I want that, and I'd given him 3 colors to choose from because I'm not expecting him to bring me back sweaters quantity. Just one skein would be nice, but he got me all 3, so I'm so excited, very grateful, very happy, and it worked. My demands and my notes and everything worked. And this is what he brought me back. He brought me back those 3 beautiful skeins of Olivia and Oliver fiber, 100% superwashed BFL, 400 meters per 100 grams. And I have it from the darker to the lightest. Let me see. All right, so that is pine, the darker green. The middle one is willow. And not variegated, but I'm gonna sneeze maybe. No, the slightly speckled one is elderflower. And they all go really well together. I thought these 2 would go really well for a 2-colored shawl or something, but this one actually also really goes well with the rest. So I haven't fully decided what I'm gonna make with it. I am thinking a shawl. And more specifically, I am thinking a Vertices United. Is that what it's called? I think a Vertices Unite. I think it's a Vertices Unite shawl with these 3 as sort of the main predominant color. However, that shawl requires 5 colors. And I've been looking online to see if people have done it with 3 colors. And I'm sure some people must have, but I couldn't really find the information that I was looking for. And yeah, I might look into it more when I'm ready to cast on and do a bit of math, because you don't need 100 grams of any of the colors. I think maybe you need a little bit more than 50 to 60 grams of the color that you use the most. So yeah, I don't know. I need to have a look, but I was thinking that I could use those 3 colors as the main colors, so that at a glance it would look like a green shawl. But then I would also use the leftover of that pink yarn that I just showed you for some sections, and then as the 5th color, which would be probably the color that you use the least, I would use purple. I know I don't usually wear purple, but a touch here and there is fine. And I have some purple yarn in my stash from I bought this when I first started knitting. I think this might probably my first skein of hand dye that I ever bought is from Ginger Twist. It's called is their sock yarn, so it's superwash, BFL, and nylon, fingering weight, and it's called Lallybrock, I think, this colorway. And it's a really nice purple. And I think that's just an extra little touch. It would look very nicely with that. Let me see how I can show you. Yeah. What do you think? Also, because the reason I'm thinking pink and purple is because, hold on, I've got too much yarn on me. Is because the variegated speckled one of Olivia and Oliver has a bit of purple and pink in it, so I think it would look very nice. So yeah, that is my plan so far. Let me know what you think. Also, let me know if you have any idea. Like, don't just don't waste your time looking through a lot of patterns. But if anything pops to mind, if you have any ideas of shawl that would use 3 colors, because then I could just use all the three greens together. I would love to hear if you just have an idea. But if not, I might do a Vertices Unite in those colors. I think that would be very nice to wear in the spring. Yeah, those are definitely like spring, summer colors for me. Not so much winter or autumn, but yeah, definitely spring, summer. And I would do the larger size of the Vertices Unite. So it would be basically a blanket from what I understand. So yeah. These are all my acquisitions. I'm really excited and yeah, just really excited, looking forward to casting on those projects, even though I know it's probably not going to happen right away, but yeah, it's really fun. All right, well, we're almost done. I thought I would just take a minute to talk about the shop, give you, I mean, there's not a lot to talk about, but just give you a bit of news. And yeah, and then I thought maybe I would share what I'm reading right now, because I've been watching a lot of podcasts lately where people share at the end what they're reading, and I find it really interesting. I don't read a ton, but I read every night, about an hour before going to bed, and I'm not a fast reader. I don't read like 20 books a month, but I do read a couple of books a month, so I thought I could maybe share that, and then, we could, I don't know, I love hearing it from other people, so maybe you would love to hear that as well. So yeah, let's just start with shop news. My tea's gone cold. It's fine. Things are going well. I'm very, very busy at the moment, which is good. I have, in anticipation of autumn being a very busy season, I had chatted with my stockist and asked if they would be okay having a look and placing the orders for autumn now, or like in early July, so I could work on them over the summer and not be overwhelmed with work in the autumn and have to say no because I don't have enough time. And they've all been really great, and they have done that. So I'm doing mostly wholesale work right now. It doesn't mean that, like, the shop is open, you can buy markers if you want to. It just so happens that I have a lot of wholesale orders that I'm working on right now. And so that's really good because it's keeping me very busy. And then I am continuing on my, the habit of releasing 1 month, one set of stitch markers per month. So I think the last time I recorded, I showed you some that were called Peeps and Clocks with chickens. I'll put a picture because it's in my stitch marker box over here. In July, I released one called Berries and Cherries, and I'll again put a picture here. It has berries and cherries, it's in the name. And then coming up in August, I have one that I'm going to call Highland Friends, and I have here, so I'm going to show it to you, which is really, really cute. I love it. I think it's cute. I mean, I make them, but also I think it's cute. And this is what it looks like. Let me see if I can show you. Oh, there you go. And so it has a little Highland cow, a thistle, and a sheep. So taking a very Scottish approach to my June stitch markers. And so I'm very pleased with those. Those are coming out August 2nd, so next week. If you are ever interested in stitch markers or what is going on in the shop, feel free to subscribe to my newsletter. I'll put a link or a QR code or something here. I only send it once a month, and sometimes I forget, but usually once a month. So I'm not assaulting you with emails. I hate it when I receive 5 million emails. So just once a month, just to tell you this is the next stitch markers coming out, basically, and maybe here's a new video on YouTube. So that's really it. It's not very long. It's basic information. So if you're interested, feel free to subscribe to that. And yeah, I'm really excited. This past couple of days and this afternoon still, I need to work on markers for that because one of my stockists ordered a bunch at Ginger Twist Studio, which is in my stockist in Edinburgh. Ordered a bunch, so I'm just making like a ton of tiny cows right now, which is quite fun actually. I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, I've done most of the snout and the face, and now this afternoon I have to do fringes for all the cows, which is really fun. So yeah, this is what is happening in the shop. I have all my designs ready, all my new designs and new releases ready until the end of the year. I'm really excited about what's coming up. I'm really excited about this year's Christmas stitch marker because I think it's really cute. I will bring back the Christmas stitch markers from previous year into the shop in like November 1st, I think, something like that. I don't keep them year round because it doesn't make a lot of sense. And then I also have a Halloween themed stitch marker set that I designed last year that I will, I think, bring back on September 1st or something. Again, the seasonal stuff I don't leave in the shop year round because it doesn't make a lot of sense, I think. So yeah, stuff to look forward to, but all the information about that will come in newsletters. I think it's just the easiest way of doing it. And yeah, that's all that's going on in the shop. And then, so yeah, I thought I would share what I'm reading right now. I've never really talked about books very much in this podcast, but I really do enjoy reading. And like I said, I read every day. And I thought it would be fun to share. And then you can share with me what you are reading, or if you have books that you think maybe I would love to hear that. So my favorite genre of books, I guess, is cozy murder mysteries. I read so many of that. I love cozy murder mysteries. I love when they're set in the UK. I find that the UK has a really good, like the architectures and the villages and the landscapes and everything really lends itself to cozy murder mysteries, so I love that. I also read a bit, sometimes when there's a touch of, I also like a bit of fantasy, but not like too out there fantasy. I like things with like a bit of magic. And what I'm reading right now is called Times Convert by Deborah Harkness, and it's the fourth book in, I guess, her All Souls series. She wrote The Discovery of Witches, which I read. It came out years ago, which I read and I loved. It's probably one of my favorite books of all times. It's a series of 3 books, actually. And I think it was immensely successful. They turned it into a TV series over the past few years. It was on Sky TV. Actually, I think it's coming to Netflix this week or next week or something like that. And I think because it was so successful, she went on and wrote a 4th book. And it came out some years ago now, and I was aware of it when it came out, but I don't know. I didn't read it then because I felt, well, the trilogy ended at a good point. I don't know what else could happen. I'm afraid it's going to not be as good. And then I'd read on Goodreads some people saying that, yes, it wasn't as good. And I don't know, I didn't want to read it. But then I found out recently that the 5th book is coming out, or came out last week or something like that. And that looks really, really good. But I can't read the 5th book if I haven't read the 4th. I think maybe you can, but in my brain I can't. I have to read them all. So I decided to read Times Convert, and I'm really enjoying it. It's not fast-paced, it's not as much action and stuff as the trilogy, but I'm really, really enjoying it. So I'm glad I'm finally giving it a go. And then once I'm done with that, I think I will either pick up the 5th book and read it right away, or I will read like a short murder mystery and then get back to that. Also because the author, Deborah Harkness, is coming to, like, she's on tour, I guess, and she's coming to the UK and to Edinburgh in September, and she does a talk for one of the bookshops here, and I got a ticket for that, so I think I would like to read the 5th book before that event. So yeah, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm not showing you the book because I'm not, I have like I have a Kobo e-reader, and I read all my books I read ebooks basically on the e-reader. I rarely buy physical books anymore. I think part of it is just we don't have a ton of space, or I guess if I'm being truthful, is I would rather use space to store yarn than books. And also I'm enjoying it reading on the e-reader. I find it very comfortable. I find it very enjoyable. The books are often a bit cheaper as well, which, I mean, not that it's a big deal, but you know, you're not going to say no to that. And it's smaller, easy to travel with and everything. So yeah, that's why I'm not showing you the actual book. Maybe I'll put a cover, or I will have probably put the picture of the cover before. But yeah, so this is what I'm reading right now. I'm really enjoying it. I understand why some people would say it's not as good as the trilogy, because to me it's not really the same style of writing. It's not like the action and the stakes and the tension is not the same. It's more like seeing people's lives unfold. But I'm really enjoying it. So if you've read it, let me know what you think. If you also like Deborah Harkness and the Discovery of Witches world, let me know. Are you excited about the new one? Have you read the new one? Are you going to read the new one? And then if you have any cozy murder mysteries recommendation for me to read, then please let me know. I love those. I read them so much. Usually it comes as a series as well, so I read all of them. And yeah, I think one of my favorite is the Dales Detective series that is set in the Yorkshire Dales. I think the author is called Julia Chapman, if you're interested in that. It has 9th book right now. The 10th is coming out next year, and the 10th is going to be the final one. And then one that I like a lot, I don't remember the name of it now, it's escaping me. The author is Deanna Raybourn, I think. And it's a cozy murder mystery, but it's a historical one, and it's set in Victorian times. I'll link it in the description below. And I think there's also 7 or 8 books, and they come out every year in the spring, so I've read this year's already. So yeah. And just before that, I finished the latest this year's Emily Henry. So I like a bit of romance sometimes, not the like super smutty one, but the sweet ones like Emily Henry. So I think it was called Funny Story. I really, really enjoyed it. And then after that, I read Just for the Summer by, her last name is Jimenez. I don't remember her first name now. I'll put it again down in the description. And that was really, really good. I really enjoyed that. And like I said, I'm kind of picky about romance. It's not my favorite genre. I'm enjoying it sometimes, but not all the time. So yeah, it was really good. So yeah, anyway, I think I'm going to go now because it's been a while and I'm just rambling about things that maybe you're not interested in. But if you are, please let me know. If you have book recommendations, let me know. If you have patterns recommendation for those skeins of Olivia and Oliver Fiber yarn, please let me know as well. And yeah, let me know what you're knitting on, where you're coming, like where you're watching, what country you're in. That's always very fun to know where people are. And subscribe if you haven't already. That always helps the channel grow, and that helps YouTube, I guess, recommend it to other people, which is always nice, like the episode, the usual. All right. I'm going to stop here. Thank you so very much for watching. I will see you next time. I will be wearing my Bookclub cardigan next time. And until then, I hope you're having a lovely summer or winter if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. I hope you're doing really well, enjoying your knitting or your crafting. And yes, see you next time. Bye-bye.